As a recruiter, I believe that a really important aspect of that is going to be just the humanistic nature of communication. So everything is changing. It's to the point where almost every discipline could possibly be replaced by AI technology.
So what's the importance of team dynamics in a startup?
Essentially, it's everything. Just kind of piggybacking off of the concept of transitioning from that consumer economy to a collaborative economy. At the end of the day, you're going to be able to produce rapid innovation and rapid progress by working with other individuals.
What do you think, Arthur?
One thing I'll say
it.
a team that embraces that, it cares about the truth.
Right.
It isn't like about, oh, is this going to hurt this one's feelings? Is this going to hurt that one's feelings? Or is like, should we not do this because A, B, and C or whatever? Instead, we just say, what is the truth right now?
Right.
And people that are committed to that can work better together because we all know we're trying to get to the same goal.
Yes.
But if our egos are in the way, instead of keeping the mission, first, and if we're not truthful about like what's really occurring, then we really can't make any progress.
Check me. We live in our phones, but what if we can make them? Got every app in the world, where's the participation? Looking for representation. Don't overlook the pavement, Silicon Valley was patient. So join the movement, we ain't got too much time to be wasted. I said it's deeper than cold. Vibe with me, Opportunity. Yeah, it's deeper than cold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to It's Deeper Than Code. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Big Papa Code.
And we have a special guest.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ash. I am the CEO and founder of Better Boost and also an AI agency.
Yay!
Awesome.
And dun, 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 dun. Hi, Zach.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, great. And on today's episode, we are talking about navigating the tech startup ecosystem. And that means like we're kind of like exploring into the journey. What are we doing with that?
Yeah, I mean, long story short, we're getting a lot of messages from people that are asking questions about like my journey as a startup founder. And that's why we brought on another startup founder as well. So we can answer some of those questions and, enlighten the audience.
Perfect. And guess who has the questions? I do. Let's start with this. So Ashley, what was your experience in founding an AI tech company?
Yes, so the experience at first was 100% just relying on being, I call myself an eternal learner. So just somebody who constantly stays abreast of the most latest innovations in technology, just so that we can integrate it into our own business models since technology is changing so rapidly. So a lifelong learner is just kind of being is kind of a goal.
Forever student. We love those.
Yes.
Did you have any like initial challenges? And if so, like how did you overcome them?
Yeah, absolutely. So just the baseline understanding of technology and how it's applied to certain business models. So for example, our business model is for a wearable technology startup. So of course there are wearable technologies. We know of the Apple Watch, we know of the rings, et cetera, et cetera. But this is in a context of retail. So we imagine, a brand like Skims or Victoria's Secret, but better by leveraging technology, incorporating Boost Tech or Mesh Tech.
Okay, cool. Love that. So what was your transition like from tech recruitment to leading a tech company?
Yes. So the transition was something where I really started off with a foundation of excitement for AI technology. So as you guys already know, PwC, that's the company that I was working for. Their specialization is in accounting and finance. I worked as a recruiter for them. And so they invested, that $2.4 billion into the initial training for their workforce. And so it had me thinking just exactly how we can apply AI technology to streamline and optimize performance in almost every way. And so really kind of after gaining that experience on how to optimize as a recruiter, then saying, okay, well, how can we apply technology with the most high demand jobs? And so I kind of came across something called a prompt engineer. You guys have probably already heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially it's leveraging large language models, also known as LLMs. And essentially currently now I'm working at a startup building chatbot systems as a AI solutions architect. So a combination of prompt engineering and also leveraging generative AI.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. You create prompts.
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So she's like the human ChatGPT. We love that. So what were some skills and insights you gained from your recruitment background?
So as a recruiter, I believe that a really important aspect of that is going to be just the humanistic nature of communications. So everything is changing. It's to the point where almost every discipline could possibly be replaced by AI technology. And so as a recruiter specifically, we're really looking at, okay, making connections with people, being able to communicate and articulate your purposes and how you can bring the optimal solutions to any place that you're at to really be an asset to the team. So as a recruiter, of course, applying AI technology for our processes to automate our processes. So of course, we're speaking to a lot of people on the phone every single day. It's like, remote work most of the time or hybrid. But for example, at PwC, it was a lot of automating, for example, our Excel sheets so that we can do one-click solutions. We can find the candidate very quickly, get them into the roles that they would be able to make the highest impact in. So the name of the game is going to be not just AI, but AI automation.
Nice.
Good stuff, right? So what's the importance of team dynamics in a startup?
Yes, team dynamics. Essentially, it's everything. Just kind of piggybacking off of the concept of transitioning from that consumer economy to a collaborative economy where we call it a creator's economy. So at the end of the day, you're going to be able to produce rapid innovation and rapid progress by working with other individuals. And so at the end of the day, we're stronger together. And so it's essentially just kind of really embracing and really immersing ourselves into that.
Very cool. What do you think, Arthur?
Yeah, I mean, my point of view is very, very similar. I love how you said, like, we can go further together or we work better together, et cetera. But one thing I'll say, a little bit controversial the way I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say a word I don't normally say when I say it. So
say it.
So one thing that my business partner, Brylan, used to say a lot, and then our team kind of adopted that vision, and it's helped me, continue to grow, is you don't want to believe your own bullshit. You ever heard that before?
Yep.
Yeah, and so a team that is, embraces that and actually cares about the truth.
Right.
And isn't about oh, is this going to hurt this one's feelings? Is this going to hurt that one's feelings? Or is should we not do this because A, B, and C or whatever? Instead, we just say, what is the truth right now?
Right.
And people that are committed to that can work better together because we all know we're trying to get to the same goal.
Yes.
But if our egos are in the way, instead of keeping the mission, first.
Yes.
And if we're not truthful about what's really occurring, then we really can't make any progress. And Brylan was really, really, big on pushing that. And another one of my business partners, Jamie, she's the embodiment of that. Basically if it's only thing she wants to know is what really happened. I don't want to know nothing, none of the nonsense.
Right.
Arthur, don't sugarcoat it. Get right to the
Straight
point.
to the point.
Right.
Jamie's
What
very black
is
and
it?
white.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. We both know Jamie.
I love that.
Yes.
Yes. Everything's black and white, no gray area.
Yes.
Exactly. It's what is it?
Yes.
Is it this? If it's not this,
Yes.
what is it?
Right.
And we need to get right to it. So.
Absolutely.
That's
Love that.
great. So what's some tips for hiring the right talent?
So beyond, of course, the general skill sets, what we're really going to be looking for within a candidate is the level of execution. So, of course, we're just looking for not only a surface level of can they execute the task, but can they streamline the task? Can they optimize it? Can they make it better? We're looking for innovators that are going to be able to take our current processes and improve them at the end of the day, but also not only short-term players, but long-term players. So that also comes down to, of course, the cultural fit.
Yeah. How you piggyback off that?
Yeah, I mean, long story short, just like you said, you probably heard I can't remember what firm you say. I think it's Quicken Loans. They used to say this thing where it's execution is worship.
Yeah.
And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. I could, have a great rapport with somebody and, we could get along, et cetera, but does the job get done?
Right.
And do they prioritize getting the job done? Do they have a track record of accomplishing tasks, not just starting things and not finishing them? All those things are important at a startup because, I hate when people say the thing that's the cliche that's gotten out of vogue. It's we're a family here, blah, blah. No, we at work. We are at work.
We at work.
Right.
We are definitely at work and I have a family.
Yeah.
But kind of when you're in a startup, it kind of still, you have that no matter what. And because you have to interact so much with these people, you can't have people around you that anybody is not pulling their weight. There's no space for anybody who's not making progress.
Right.
Because, every single cog is like super important at the beginning because you're laying the foundation. So execution's like, that's number one importance. And when you're actually onboarding people and trying to find people that have the right skills, I speak specifically about, from a technical standpoint, because that's like my background. And when I'm, getting, other engineers and technical personnel, I tend to focus on the things that, align with the job description. And that's kind of something that a lot of companies don't do. Like, you may not know that, but trust me, like, it happens. Like, you'll go and, let's say, try to get a job at Google, and your whole entire job is going to be moving 5 lines of CSS code or whatever the case may be. And they're going to ask you to do, like, solve for a binary search tree, spin it around 5 times, but you'll never do that at work. Like, and that sounds weird because it is weird, right? It's a weird question they ask to test your problem-solving skills, right? But it has nothing to do with like the job you might be going for. But when you're dealing with a startup, it doesn't even make sense to ask those questions if you're not going to do that work.
Right.
Because all that matters right now is not if you know how to see the left edge of a binary search tree. It's, this is what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Do you have experience doing this thing? Or are you a fast learner and can learn this right now? Because I need you to do this. And I don't need to know your generalized knowledge. I need to know your specialized knowledge about this task that I need to get done. And I see a lot of startup founders have trouble getting people originally because they'll try to do interview process like the big tech companies. But you're not a big tech company and this person doesn't have 50 departments to go to.
Right.
They got one thing to do.
Right.
And that's it.
So
Yes.
I don't care if they could do this thing. If you need them to change things from green to blue, you need to make sure they do that really, really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And not worry about other stuff. So that's something there.
Love
So
that.
make sure you're doing that
Yes.
and not that.
I got a
great.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys say like all these, characters you're looking for in, people to push a startup, and you have this culture. How are you incentivizing and encouraging this culture that in these startups that you talk about?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a
great
great
question.
question. You want me to go first or you go first?
Because
Take
like
it
in
away.
reality, you could have the perfect candidate day one,
Right.
and
Mhm.
we're human. 2 years later, you might not be that, or you might be burned out.
Right.
Mhm.
How are you guys encouraging
Yes.
that culture to thrive?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say, I think I can toot my own horn, but anybody that's ever worked for me before has like a good thing to say about, setting a culture or whatever. Like that's something I've heard like universally. And the number one thing is if you are a leader, like you end up setting the culture. And it really is as simple as not changing and also empathy. Because a lot of people that are really, really driven, and I've met a lot of people that way, they tend to actually be kind of assholes a lot of the time. And they kind of have like, even when they're nice, underneath the hood, they're kind of like that.
Yep.
And, if you just aren't that way and you set a culture from the beginning and you stick to it, and you also, like when, for example, I've had people that are working for me and like they'll have a death in the family. I know there's been people I've worked with before, like, okay, like they'll tell me when the other people aren't there because, they're like, we're managers talking or something like that. And they're like, okay, man, this kind of sucks. Now I'm going to be down a person, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's not the way you should be looking at this right now. The way you should be looking at this right now is human being lost a family member. They are in a different mindset. So of course they need to step away, and you need to be trying to give them the most support possible, because also like you want them to come back, right? And you want them to feel like when they were in this zone that they were supported, right? And thinking about the human perspective. And yes, could it affect deadlines and things of that nature? Yes, but other thing that I've noticed is I haven't really had deadlines slip when stuff like that happens, because then because what they'll see is that you cared about them, so the other people around that are watching the way you're reacting to that will say like, oh, well, that's how Arthur acted then. So if I get the same situation, this is how he's going to act. He's not going to, do A, B, C, and D. And I'll give a crazier situation that, is a little bit emotional for me to talk about. So hopefully I don't get all crazy about. When I was in the military, we had a situation happen where somebody that, was what they were on watch, and they committed suicide while they were on watch. So they shot themselves on watch, right? And what ended up happening is, as a result, there were a lot of people that witnessed that occur, that because of psychological reasons could not hold a weapon for a little bit of time, right? So of course that messes up like scheduling and, and that sort of thing. So what I did is that was actually a different section, not my section. That's what we called them, like different, like every manager had a section. And so I volunteered to go to that section, to switch over to theirs, right? To leave my group, go here, right? And when I went there, one thing that obviously I'm qualified to do everything because I'm in charge. So one thing I did to make it easier for everybody to move around is I stood watch instead. And so they saw that I was willing to come here and I was willing to do the job. And like you're supposed to, the way it's supposed to work is you do like 2 hours, 2 hours off, 2 hours, 2 hours off. And like I took the hardest watch and I stood there all 12 hours and didn't move.
Wow.
So this way that they could, do things differently. And then those people that were working for me there were like, you know what, I don't really know him, but because he, did that then for us, like I know that he cares. And yeah, that's the year that I won Senior Sale of the Year too, and all that. Yeah, and all the people that worked for me, like they just were like going super hard about, I'm gonna get this qualification so you look good and blah, 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 so you look good. So my point being, that's a real long answer to your question, but that was a good question, Zach. But that's a long answer to your question, but it's really not as hard as people make it to do that. It's only hard if you're faking it, because then you can't fake everything for forever. Like you just have to do some internal work if you're going to be a manager of like that. You care more about people than, getting the job done. You have to get the job done. Like we all have to get it done or we're not going to eat. We're not going to get paid. We're in a startup. So we got to kill what we eat. But at the same time, we care about the people where we're doing it with.
Absolutely.
And that might just be a military thing I picked up, but
Well, it's like prioritizing people over your goals ultimately prioritizes your goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people are, willing to go that length when it, as cheesy as it sounds, like feels like a family.
Yeah.
I've even been in situations like that, working on a long, like post-production project, and I was pulling all-nighters, and that producer, when he knows I'm there putting in those hours, wouldn't show up when I'm pulling all-nighters, right? And my supervisor at the time was doing them with me, and like it shows that they're willing to get their hands dirty too. Like you said, you stood watch, like that's leadership, and you want to fight for that person too, versus the person that doesn't show up.
Right. The family thing is very important. I think it's important. Not cheesy. It's so important. I love it.
Wrong word.
I love it. It's like you have to feel close to people that you work with, especially with a startup. Like, because the way you guys make it seem like it's like now or never.
Yes.
You have to like get it, and it's important, and everybody's role is important.
Absolutely.
So, we want to feel cared for. Okay. How's navigating the funding landscape when it comes to a startup?
I can take that first and then and I can pass it to you after. I'll say briefly, like what I've learned from being around, Brylan and Deandra specifically, who were in charge of making that happen. And also what I've learned from Liberty, because Liberty's been coaching me about those type of things. And if you didn't check out the Liberty episode, check out the Liberty episode. She'd just be dropping gems. So, but long story short, the funding landscape is interesting in the sense of you have to, and I'm currently in the stages of my new startup of getting funding. And you have to get good at pitching is what it comes down to. You have to get good at understanding. Empathy comes in again. Like, what is the venture capitalist or the angel investor? What's the goal that they want? Like, if a venture capitalist is giving you money, for your startup, they're giving a lot of people money and they know not every single one's going to succeed. But what they're trying to evaluate is, does this idea that you have, does it have the ability to scale? And can it 100x, 1000x my investment?
Yes.
Does it have the opportunity to do that? If what you're presenting only has the opportunity to maybe make a couple million, do a little whatever, you shouldn't even be wasting their time, because that's not what they want. What they want is they want to put $1 million and they want to turn to Facebook, right? That's the only thing they're trying to do, because that's the only way they make money is they have some stuff in their portfolio that does that. So they're trying to find that. And so you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, is what I'm building, something that realistically I have a real plan for that can become $1 billion company, et cetera. And if it isn't, then you have to then forget about funding, but you need to be thinking about, funding in a different way. You need to be thinking about getting business loans and things like that, because that's what you should be doing, because venture capital isn't for you. And really, angel investors aren't either, for the most part. And so just keeping that in mind. So just being honest about what type of funding is right for your business plan, like your business model. Do you have a 1,000x business model? Then yeah, let's talk to some institutional investors, venture capitalists, et cetera. Is this something you really don't even need investment for, that you can automatically sell from day one? And so you don't even need that type of funding? Well, maybe you just need a line of credit, and you need to self-fund and, just build a big business off the line of credit. And so make sure your credit score is above 720, et cetera. Make sure you got a business that's got a couple years of, time on it or whatever. And so you can go get a $200,000 credit line or whatever the case may be and do what you got to do.
No, it's fine. What do you think, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, Arthur is the king of code and also the king of funding. But to kind of piggyback,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive. $3.4 million being raised for the startup. I completely understand the beginning process and the beginning stages. And I think as a startup, it's important to understand how you can be an accelerator. It's not just kind of going into business and, expecting things to be kind of brick and mortar, kind of, there's a black and white area and there's gray areas with business. And so especially these days when they have technology where you can integrate and innovate, at the end of the day, these startup companies and angel investors, they're interested in exactly how you can apply the technology and how you can accelerate ideas. Obviously, there's like Y Combinator, et cetera, like that's their specialty. So absolutely. I mean, I think that you said it best.
It's funny you talked about like, you talked about like accelerating ideas, et cetera. One thing I've seen, and you've probably seen this too, especially because you're so into AI, I have seen what people are looking for on how what you do can lessen the amount of humans needed to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Right? And do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, investors at the end of the day, they're interested in maximizing the ROI, like their return on investment. And at the end of the day, lessening those upfront costs, those overhead costs, that's going to be able to contribute to the bottom line. And so most definitely, especially as, startup founders, personally, it's been kind of a process of bootstrapping. And so now getting into that stage of, okay, what does the crowdfunding stage look like? I've been speaking to several angel investors. And as you said, starting off with the problem and the solution, exactly how you can provide that indefinite solution and have a business model that's also different than every other brand. Having something different that you can bring to the table, but also innovate with, because at the end of the day, these large companies, the FANG organizations, they have massive resources and they have advantages. But at the end of the day, the advantage as a small startup, what you can do is accelerate. What you can do is innovate. There's a lot of less red tape to go through. So, you just have to kind of take where you're good and maximize what you can.
Yeah. Remember we talked about Aave Digital Bank before? Yeah. And it's funny you say that too, because you keep making a lot of things come to my mind. I love talking to you. So there is, who said it? Man, can we Google that? Yeah. But there, Zach's going to find the name of the person. But somebody recently said that they think there's going to be the very first $1 billion startup with only five people working there.
Yes.
Right? And that sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, I love that, honestly.
You heard that too, right?
Yes.
Who said that?
Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, there's several people who have, or actually, Sam Altman. He's the
Sam Altman said it, right? Altman. Sam Altman said it. That's who said it. Sam Altman said it.
Yes, Sam. Sam A.
So what do you think about that? Do you see that happening?
Without a doubt.
Because I see a lot of potential for better boosts to get really, really large, based on what you're doing. Do you think you're gonna need to hire a staff of thousands of people, or do you see yourself being a smaller company that can make big amounts of dollars?
Wow. I mean, amazing question. And so the future is, as we know, as you already know and have heard of, is AI agents. So, we have not only AI, but we have application programming interfaces, APIs. And so essentially that's what you can leverage with ChatGPT for. Essentially, there are integrations that you can make from external platforms. And essentially, you can leverage those integrations to streamline, optimize, and automate processes within your businesses. And so when we're speaking of automating different things, some roles, humans, will do better than AI, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to communicating, when it comes to that humanistic nature. But we know that AI is now multimodal. So not only, are we prompt engineering by asking ChatGPT or other, Claude, et cetera, other platforms questions, but we're also taking it to another level where AI can help you to learn another language. It can speak to you, you know what I'm saying? And we've already seen the rapid advancements with that. So it's going to be inevitable where, it may not even be a 5-person company. It may just be one, and then the second person is going to be AI. But it will be very, very possible. At the end of the day, what it's going to require is massive amounts of compute. So we're looking at, Mark Zuckerberg, everyone speaks about compute. They say knowledge is power, it transitioned into data as power, and the future is going to be compute as power. At the end of the day, these advanced AI programs and systems require a lot of power. And so, that's going to require us to come to different solutions on how we're going to power these systems. But at the end of the day, it's absolutely possible with AI. And it's really exciting, honestly. I would definitely be interested in integrating AI technology in any way that I can into my business to be able to optimize that bottom line, which is the most important at the end of the day.
Awesome.
Great. So we have mentioned something about pitching before. So what's some advice that you would recommend for pitching to investors?
Obviously, I love to start with the ROI. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of the projections are going, they're not definite projections at this point. They're just, hypothetical projections, which you kind of have to really be able to sell to the investor. But beyond being able to, have those strategic predictions, we're also looking into, of course, that solution and the problem. So we're looking at, obviously, there's a lot of different startups that are providing solutions to many different problems in the world, but you want to make sure that you can articulate how your business is different. And also not only, again, Arthur, he said it in an amazing way of how you can scale.
Yeah. You want to piggyback off that?
The only thing that I'll say, and you were hitting on it just a moment ago, is the total addressable market that your company has. Like when you're pitching or whatever, you want to make sure you make it clear what that addressable market is that you have. That's why people will say, well, there's, if you're targeting, let's say, Black men or whatever, there's, this many Black men, they spend this much money per year on et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So that's your maximum. That's a bad example, but
yeah, that's
you
right.
get where
great.
I'm going.
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure that you have inside your presentation and your deck the addressable market that's in front of you.
Yes, product market fit. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Period. So what's some effective strategies for marketing a tech startup?
So, we're just kind of getting started on our end with Better Boost. I'll pass this over to the King of Code.
You know what? That sounds better than Big Papa Code. I might have a name change. Who knows?
King of Code is cool. I like it.
Well, we got to stick to the brand now. It's too late. But I would say the most important thing is figuring out who that customer avatar is and have as many customer avatars as you can. Like, for example, for Monetasphere, we have 4 different ones. I won't break them down now because we don't have enough time. Mm-hmm. But, we have 4 different core avatars that we go after, and understanding that, who that avatar is and what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what their passions are, et cetera. Because it's this one thing that Perry Marshall said way back in the day. I'm dating myself, the fact that I even brought up Perry Marshall, because that's kind of crazy. Because
he sounds like he was born in the 50s.
Yeah, right.
He might be born in the 30s, to be honest. Like, Perry Marshall's a throwback. But anyway, Perry Marshall used to say, nobody who ever wanted to drill bought a drill because they wanted to drill. Mm-hmm. They bought a drill because they wanted to make a hole.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if you want to,
yes,
make sales or whatever, for a bunch of drills, you're going to need to talk about why yours is the best, why your tool's the best thing to make holes, and really focus in on why somebody would want to make a hole in the first place. Yeah. Right. And that's just a super simple example, but if you could take that anywhere and realize, okay, well, somebody's buying, the Boost technology, et cetera, just like you said, they would want to be more confident. They want this, they want that. That's what they actually want. That's what they're purchasing when they buy it. Mm. People that buy Gucci, buy Gucci because it's the best clothing line. Mm-hmm. I don't buy Gucci anyway, right? But you don't buy it because it's the best clothing line. You buy it because if I go out to the club and I got Gucci on, everybody's going to look at me like, like,
he gonna buy our section.
Right.
He gonna buy the section, right? You're gonna get that type of energy. That's what you want. Yes. So you want all the G's on you that you can get.
Yeah.
So that's what the person's really purchasing is. You need to be some type of passion in them that makes them want the thing that you have. And so when it comes to marketing a startup, right, there's already people that are doing it a certain way. Why is wearing your thing or doing your thing going to get me the result that I want, the feeling that I want, the prestige I want.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what you need to do, whether you're selling B2B or you're selling direct to consumer.
Nice. I love that. Well, guys, thank you for stopping in with us again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all again next Sunday at 9. Bye.
Peace.
I'm the one that you should call when you learn to code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Yeah, man, they call me Mr. CTO. I'm the one that you should call when you learn to code. Success follow me around if you didn't know. From the bottom, so the top, the only way to go. Got in this game from a humble beginning, but now we winning.